If you're looking for a large car to haul your family around, chances are you're going to end up with something like this, a large SUV. This is a 2021 Hyundai Palisade, and this is, in my opinion, one of the better options in the large SUV segment, simply because it's got a lot of room on the inside. This will seat 8 in this specification, and we're currently in the homeland of the people mover and the SUV. We're in suburbia, there's kids playing down the road, there's a dog barking over there, I think I can hear a vacuum cleaner going off behind me as well. This is where people buy these cars to haul around that large family. However, while most of the market does buy SUVs for this purpose, there's a few people who still are in team people mover. Isn't that right, mate?
That's right, Sam. We've got the Kia Carnival Platinum here stepping up against the Palisade. It's an absolutely fantastic car, this new generation, great styling, great technology. It's a really good car, mate. I like it. So it's only been one way to find this out, mate. What are we going to do today?
I think we take them for a drive, but we have a good dig through the interior. Because for me, a people mover is all about first row, second row, third row. Space, comfort, practicality, all those things. And while I do love this Carnival, the Palisade is not a bad jigger either.
Let's go and find out, mate. Let's get stuck in.
The Hyundai Palisade we've got here is base specification, the cheaper option in a 2 variant range. And while it is much cheaper than the Highlander spec, this entry-level Palisade isn't exactly what I would call poverty pack. Priced from $64,000 before on-road costs with a 2.2 litre turbo diesel engine and all-wheel drive, the Palisade comes standard with 18-inch alloy wheels, LED daytime running lights, black leather upholstery and steering wheel. There's also front and rear parking sensors, an electric adjustment for the driver's seat, autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert and curtain airbags for all 3 rows. And although there are plenty of safety credentials there, this Palisade is yet to be tested by ANCAP.
There's nothing daggy about the way the new Kia Carnival looks. The brand calls it a GUV, or Grand Utility Vehicle, in order to distance it away from those uncool and unfashionable people movers of yesteryear. Marketing promises aside, there's plenty of sharp lines and strong design elements making the Kia Carnival look fresh. Our tester is priced from $70,490 drive away. When compared to the Hyundai Palisade, you get more gear for your money, including an electric tailgate, twin sunroofs, and 19-inch black wheels that scream performance, not people mover. You also get 2 years extra warranty as well. The Kia Carnival was locally crash tested in 2021 by ANCAP, where it scored a full 5 stars under the latest and most strict testing criteria. Alongside a full suite of advanced safety systems like blind spot monitoring and lane keeping assist, there's also a comprehensive airbag package that protects occupants in the 3rd row. It's worth noting that for the same money as a mid-tier Palisade, you're getting a top-of-the-line Kia Carnival Platinum. That means you get heaps of extra gear for your money, like a 12.3-inch infotainment display, heated and cooled seats, as well as a heated steering wheel as well. In terms of more general items, there's good storage in this car too. There's large door bins down below, a decent center console and a wide armrest storage area. Something I do like about this cabin, however, is this nice wood trim that breaks up the usual drab black plastic.
It might not be as outright fancy in this Palisade as the Carnival, Justin, but there is still a lot to like about this car, and it mostly boils down to storage. Firstly, I'll start with this big lidded compartment here. You can fit a lot of gear in here, just the everyday stuff you carry around with you. And there's also a USB power outlet. Open up the center console. This is a big space as well. There's an extra little bit there for your coins or your wallet, whatever it might be, plus a USB and a 12-volt outlet. Probably fit a small handbag in there. Maybe not, but I reckon you could definitely fit a large handbag down in this big storage spot underneath here. You might not notice it straight away with this big stack you've got here for your aircon controls and things, but there's another USB point and there's another 12 volt, but the amount of raw storage is fantastic. In terms of infotainment, we do have a smaller display in this specification of Palisade. However, it does have all the things you want. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, digital radio, and also native navigation, so you're not missing out on too many features there. There's a multi-function display in front of the driver as well. That's got all the basic stuff. I do like the tire pressure monitoring that this Palisade has. That is handy if you are getting away for a few days on the open road. In terms of seats, it's worth noting that this is technically a base spec Palisade. There is a Highlander, which is about 10 grand more than this car, but this is still pretty well stacked on the inside. We've got nice leather seats. These are perforated, they look good, and they're comfortable to sit in as well. And I reckon this SUV would be great for a road trip, but also good on the daily grind.
This is not an SUV, this is a people mover, which means it has heaps of amenities for guests in the second row. There's a USB port in the back of the seats, heated outboard rear seats, dual sunroofs, roof mounted air vents, heaps of stuff here to keep the family cool and comfortable. In terms of seating, it's incredibly versatile too. You've got sliding outboard seats, a centre seat that folds, as well as lifts out to enable access into the third row. It's designed to suit a wide variety of family applications. However, there's no escaping the sliding doors on the Kia Carnival. They can be considered a little bit unfashionable and do channel the old age of daggy people movers. However, there's no denying their practicality, Sam, as they are electric, meaning you can slide them from the front or using the key remotely.
I have to say, I do love a good set of electric sliding doors as well, but the market likes SUVs and SUVs do not have sliding doors. So with that in mind, let's have a look at this Palisade, especially the second row, which I think is quite good. I'm not sure why the Hyundai designers were so thirsty when they were putting together this Palisade, but they clearly were, because this thing has a plethora of cup holders at the ready. We've got 2 in each door here. That's a total of 4 already, not a bad number by itself, but wait, there's more. 1 litre bottles can fit in each door as well, and if that's not enough, pop down this centre armrest, then you've got 1, 2 cup holders, plus room for something small in the middle. Safe to say you're never going to run out of room for drinks in this thing. Now, cup holders aside, you've got some other amenities as well. There are USB points in the back of each front seat. That is a good feature, similar to the Carnival, and there is a 12-volt outlet here above the vent controls. That's the air conditioning control. You've got fan speed and temperature, and your vents are up here above you in the roof. Now, in terms of seating position, I do like this Palisade. It's got a slight stadium feel to it, so you've got good visibility in the second row. It's also quite comfortable. I think kids would appreciate this in particular. They can see what's going on. They're not going to get car sick as much on those longer drives, and that can make a massive difference when you're going on a road trip. The second row does have a 60-40 split, and it also slides a fair way and tilts as well, so you can get quite comfortable in the back here. However, I would prefer to have the 40 split on the curb side for third row access, not putting out passengers as much.
As a people mover, every area of the Kia Carnival is well considered. Like the Palisade, you've got cup holders, storage, USB ports, and the general stuff to keep occupants happy. However, it's the habitability and cabin area of the third row of the Carnival that sees it stride ahead. There's a good amount of space back here. The seats themselves are big. It's an 8-seater too. The floor is flat, means it's easy to get in and out of. Overall, it's a nicer place to be. The Kia Carnival features 5 ISOFIX points in total, including 2 in the third row of seating. The Hyundai Palisade features just 3, 2 in the middle and 1 in the back row.
1 touch button to access the third row of this Palisade. And as you can see there, the space is quite good. As a larger adult, myself, I can fit in. Kids would find it a breeze. Now let's move this back into position. There's still a lot of legroom in the second row there for people in there. And as you can see here, I've got space as well. This is actually quite a comfortable experience. One thing I really like about the third row of this Palisade is the fact that the seats are a little bit higher once again, so visibility is good. I can see through the windscreen. I've got big windows here on the side. It's not a claustrophobic experience like other SUVs are in the back. Amenities are pretty well sorted as well. Lo and behold, we've got more cup holders in the third row of this Palisade. 1, 2, and 2 more on the other side. That's 4 in the third row. Air vents in the roof, and you've got USB outlets on this side. And in terms of comfort, this thing is great. It's worth pointing out that this is actually a 3-seater in the back here. So there is 1 spot in the middle. You've got a seat belt up in the roof here. I would say that's better for kids. You would only fit 3 kids in the back here somewhat comfortably, but for 2 adults, I have to say, it's not as good as the Carnival in terms of space and comfort, but as an SUV, this is one of the best in the segment. Here is the boot of the Palisade in 5-seat mode, and as you can see, this is quite huge actually. This is a large double pram. I have to be honest, I rarely use this thing because it's just too big for most cars, but it fits in here quite easily, and you've still got a fair amount of space in the back here. It's big, it's wide, you've got a 12-volt outlet there as well. So now let's take this pram out and see what the boot size is like with 8 seats. The passing eye might think that this doesn't have a third row of seats, but it's hiding under this carpeted mat. Pull that forward, and you've got a couple of levers here to pull up. It's a 60-40 split once again. There we go. For an 8-seater car, that is still quite good. That's bigger than some small SUVs. And below here, you've got room for a luggage blind and some additional storage space as well. There is no spare wheel there because there is a full-size spare on this Palisade and it is underslung.
Over in the Kia Carnival, the first thing you notice is this low boot load height. It enables you to throw things in and out of the car nice and easy. One disadvantage with the Kia Carnival, however, is the fact it has a space-saving spare wheel and not a full-size spare like the Hyundai Palisade. As you can see here, we have the same stroller as before. We're in 8-seat mode and it fits quite nicely thanks to this storage tub. However, that's not the only party trick, and we'll show you that now. Now in 5-seat mode, as you can see, there's way more storage here than what's in the Palisade. However, this large aperture enables the easy loading of awkward items, like this child's bicycle, for example. As you can see, it fits in nice and easily, no hassles at all. I'd love to see that in the Hyundai Palisade, Sam.
Unfortunately for the Palisade, the boot space isn't as big as the Carnival. The awkwardly sized kid's bike only fits in sideways and there isn't as much raw space available in the Hyundai. There's 311 litres in 8-seat mode and that grows to 704 litres when you drop that third row out of the way. In comparison, the Carnival offers 627 litres in the same VDA measurement with all rows deployed. Go to 5-seat mode and you've got 2,785 litres. That's nearly 4 times more than the Palisade.
We're in the Kia Carnival at the moment and I've got to say it's a nice place to be. You do notice that the wheelbase is quite long and it's quite cumbersome in certain areas. So if you do live in inner city areas or frequent multi-storey car parks, you may prefer the Hyundai Palisade. It's a front-wheel drive diesel with an 8-speed torque converter. It's nice, it's smooth, it's comfortable. It's better on fuel too, for that matter, compared to the Hyundai. The Kia Carnival Platinum is offered with either a petrol V6 or turbo diesel 4-cylinder. Our car features a more expensive 2.2 litre oiler that produces 148 kilowatts of power and 440 Nm of torque. Despite being similar on paper, it's a newer engine than what's found in the Hyundai Palisade, featuring more advanced and lighter materials like an alloy engine block. This helps improve handling and fuel efficiency. As it's front-wheel drive, you do notice that it does lack a bit of traction. If you nail it from a set of lights, you do get a little bit of wheel spin. And if it's raining outside, you do have to be a little bit gentle on the throttle pedal. Overall, it's nice and livable, however, and it's plenty safe for a large family. Having spent some time in the Hyundai Palisade, I've got to say personally, I think it's the more composed car of the two. What do you think, Sam?
I am going to have to agree with you, Justin. As much as I do love that Carnival, it's smooth, comfortable, easy to drive, all those things, I do prefer this Palisade for a few key reasons. Number one, it's all-wheel drive, and in my opinion, 4-driven wheels are better than 2. It does give this Palisade a little bit of off-road ability, something the Carnival cannot do. It's got a little bit more ground clearance, and it's got a few off-road driving modes here you can select through this dial. This thing isn't going to be taking on Land Cruisers and patrols. It's not that kind of car. A bit of camping, slippery grass, that sort of thing. Nothing crazy, but it does broaden the capability of this Palisade in comparison to the Carnival. While the Palisade has the same 2.2 litre turbo diesel capacity on the spec sheet, it's worth pointing out that this is the older design engine. In the Palisade, it makes 147 kilowatts and 440 Newton meters, powering all 4 wheels through an on-demand system. Claimed fuel economy is 7.3 litres per 100 kilometres on the combined cycle. Another thing to note here is that unlike the newer all-wheel drive Hyundais and Kias, like the Sorento and the Santa Fe, this Palisade gets a more traditional torque converter automatic gearbox. That's instead of the newer dual clutch design. And I have to be honest, driving around town through roundabouts like this one, I do appreciate the smoothness of a torque converter. The new dual clutch in the Kias and the Hyundais are great, but they're still not as smooth as this one. It's easy to drive, it's got 8 gears, it keeps the revs nice and low. There's just no dramas with it at all. Another advantage which you might not realise is the size difference between these two cars. This Palisade is a big, large SUV, yes, but if you look at the numbers, it's actually smaller, it's narrower, and it's not as long as the Carnival. It's got a shorter wheelbase, and you do notice that around town. Sometimes you can get caught out with that Carnival, going around tight corners, trying to park it. It is a long car. This one is just a little bit shorter, and it makes a big difference, especially going through car parks and that sort of thing. This is, for the size of the car, a large 8-seat SUV. It's actually pretty easy to get around in. But probably the best thing about this Palisade is simply how easy it is to live with and drive on the daily grind. It's smooth, it's quite comfortable, it handles bumps well, the steering response is nicely weighted. It just does everything how it should. It's quite painless overall.
It's been a long day today, mate, but I reckon there's a lot to love about the Hyundai Palisade. It's got a good towing capacity, it's got all-wheel drive, and it's got good on-road manners as well, I reckon.
Yeah, it's been a great car. I really enjoyed the practicality of it, but I think just the size overall. For a large SUV, bigger is better, and the amount of space inside this thing makes it a great people mover. However, it's not as good a people mover as the real deal.
No, the old Kia Carnival, one of our favourites here at CarAdvice Drive. Heaps of space inside, heaps of technology, it's better on fuel too, it's just better at moving people, who knew?
I know, who would have thought, hey? And this latest generation is hands down one of the best cars you can buy at the moment, I reckon.
I reckon that gives it the win. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I think so, if by a little bit, but I suppose there is one caveat there. If you need a little bit of SUV ability in your people mover, then the decision is made. You might want all-wheel drive, and you might want a little bit more ground clearance and off-road ability. Then this Palisade is a wonderful choice.
Thank you, Sam. We hope you enjoyed this video today. As usual, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel to receive the latest and greatest automotive content straight to your inbox.